Our guest today has one of the most beautiful NFT collections that I've ever seen. His name is Mr. V and he is a special mint collector. Some of the most incredible NFTs in his collections include 36 collectibles. All of them have mint 1, 2, 3, 4. In this conversation, we'll be talking about his biggest and most expensive mistakes so that you can learn from and avoid, his VV strategy, profit taking, gem management 101, and some incredible stories of how he was able to collect these special mints. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Share it to your friends so that they can benefit from it too. And most of all, please subscribe now so that you don't miss out on the actionable and valuable insight brought to you by Veve's experts and biggest whales that will help you to make the best decisions possible. Let's get to it. Mr. V, thank you so much for being here. I know that you are a specimen collector and I believe you have one of the most unique collections on the app, and I've been interacting with you almost daily now, and I've been following you for a while. You like the effort that you put in to building your collection is pretty incredible. I think having your perspective on that aspect of VV, which is specimen collecting, your journey, your lessons, and your mistakes will be very helpful for the community. So I really appreciate you being here.
Thank you very much for having me, Will. I really appreciate it. This is a kind of new territory for me because I don't think I've shown my face to anybody up until this point. So this is my my first VV interview.
Yeah, this is your FA moment.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to set some context to my first question, and I know that you have, again, a crazy collection, especially your mint 1, 2, 3, 4. So as of today, you have 36 mint collectibles with the mint 1, 2, 3, 4, and these are not like random collectibles. These are not the Tobies and Electra. These are golden moments. You have the whole set of Steamboat Willie mint 1, 2, 3, 4, right?
The uncommon is I have it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've been looking at the market almost every day, especially when KYC was being implemented to see if maybe a bot would drop it on the market, but I didn't find it. So
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll take that.
Yeah.
And then you have the Golden Moment Avenger set, which is the Iron Man and the Avenger logo, mint 1, 2, 3, 4. And you have Wonder Woman, Batgirl, Supergirl, the house from the movie Up. You have Winnie the Pooh 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And I think you have the Golden Moment Pixar set, which is Willie 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the Pizza Planet truck, which is 2, 3, 4, 5.
Right.
Okay, guys, to those who are watching, that's fucking crazy. And then you have the skateboard, the Golden Moment skateboard 1, 2, 3, 4. And the new animated Mickey, the like that color animated Mickey 1, 2, 3, 4. I think you have the uncommon version, right?
Correct.
Which is the best out of the three. So my first question is, why mint 1, 2, 3, 4?
I'll give you the short version of it first, and then I'll elaborate. When I first joined the app, I was going for 0, 1, 2, 3 mints, but I soon realized that I was getting priced out because it was such a low mint already, a sub 150 mint. It just got expensive real quick, and so it was kind of like a last second decision. I was like, all right, I'm going to start offloading these, and I switched over to 1, 2, 3, 4 because it was less expensive. It was still sequential, and it made sense to me. And it was more affordable. Really, it came down to the dollars. When I first started too, I basically switched all of my crypto into gems, 1-to-1. I bought it on the app. I did not have a clue about buying off the market either. And had I known about that, then I'm pretty sure my collection would be a lot different now. But yeah, that's the short of it. And then the rationale behind it, and I'm sure we'll be able to talk about it more further down or further into the interview, I come from an educational background. I'm a teacher. I'm not a whale or anything like that. I started in like September last year, so I started kind of late. So my master's was in linguistics and understanding language, and also my undergrad was in education, and I was working on a doctorate too. And a lot of it was just really informative about human growth and development and how we process things around the world. When we first come into the world, we understand things in binaries like zeros, ones. We can't understand the concept of black unless there's white. We can't understand the concept of hot unless we experience cold. So that's why zeros and ones, when we see those sequences, are very satisfying, appealing. Then as we get older, then we start, we really depend on repetition to get comfortable with the world around us. So that's why we like repeating numbers like ones, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3. And then finally, we have sequential numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, or, ascending and descending. And those are also very satisfying to look at, because as we're growing, we start to focus on higher order thinking and following steps, right? Like, so this comes first, this second, this third, this fourth. And so I was trying to understand why I chose 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's what it came down to. Like, that's the rationale that I've come to. It's satisfying because that's how I've come to understand the world. I'm very, I like having the steps in front of me. I like order, I like structure. And that, I think that's the root of it. From my personal background.
Wow, that was one of the best explanations I've ever heard. Yeah, that's crazy. So let me tell you a little bit of a background. So I basically took like the past 2 months off Veve because I was busy with work. So like I was very excited for this interview, and your explanation, like looking at it from a very scientific perspective, just make this interview like 10x better. So I'm like super happy right now. And also for my background, I'm from Vietnam. I'm from an Asian culture. So we value those sequential numbers a lot. For example, in Vietnam, if your license plate has sequential numbers like 5, 6, 7, 8, or 7, 8, 9. Oh, well, sorry. 5, 6, 7, 8, 6, 7, 8, 9, then that is a really good thing. Even your phone number, or just any like the numbers on your house, like your house number, if you have 1, 2, 3, 4, or those kind of things, that's really good. And we don't really think about it from a scientific perspective like that. We think about it from we resonate with life, with our career. Like if you have 5, 6, 7, 8, or 6, 7, 8, 9, then your life and your career is gonna go up, will go up, something like that. And that's supposed to bring luck and prosperity and progress in whatever you do. So having another look at it from your perspective, it's just amazing. Yeah.
I mean, your explanation was pretty interesting too. I work with international students, so that's something I can bring to my profession. So thank you for sharing that too.
Yeah. You are also pretty big into anything that has either 1, 3, so two numbers, number 1 and 3, and 33. Can you talk about that as well?
Sure. I was looking at the 33 numbers when I first started, but a lot of fans started going for those, especially because of the popularity of Club 33. And that's, I guess that started when Walt rolled around. There was that club or that group. So I shifted over to the number 13, and so basically I went all in on it. So with the number 13, it's more about, sorry. So it's more about it being Walt's favorite number, from my understanding, because the 13th letter of the alphabet is the letter M. And if you look at the number 13 sideways, it also looks like an M. So it was explained as a very magical number to Walt, and he was a big fan. And that's, again, my understanding. Don't quote me on this, but that's the reason why they assigned the address number 1313 to Disneyland in California. So as I continued collecting, I just decided I'm going to double down on Disney mints. That's the number that I'm going to go for. Nothing other than that is the reason. Also, if I see the number 13, if there's repeating threes afterwards, that's also, cool and all. I'm a fan.
Yeah. So that 13 number being Walt Disney's favorite number, is that a well-known fact within the Disney community or the Veve community? Because to be honest, I don't know much about Disney and like the Disney fandom and those kind of things. So it would be great to have your thoughts on that.
To be quite frank, I'm more of a Marvel fan than I am a Disney fan. And it was just more research done once I joined Veve. I know that 33 is the most popular number combination, and then the second one is 13, followed by 23, because when you look at the number 23, it looks like the letter D for Disney. It was just like some novel trick on the eyes, I guess, or something like that. But yeah, that's the extent of my understanding of it. That's, if I know that there's a specific number that's very special to the IP, then I'm all in on it. Although I did opt to go with Disney. I did go heavy on Disney.
Yeah. So when I was researching about you and Disney in general, I was looking at that 13 number as well, because I understand 33 meaning Club 33, but I wasn't able to fully comprehend number 13. And I saw a post of you in our group chat where you share a letter that has the address of Disneyland, and I will post this on the interview later, which is 1313 Harbor Boulevard, Anaheim, California. And that's when it kind of clicked with me that is like that 13 number is also very special to the Disney company as well.
Yeah, my understanding is that they incorporate that number in some form or fashion in a lot of their films, books, or whatever they do have, and they think very well ahead to leave that little Easter egg in their movies.
Yeah. So when you started collecting on Veve, did you want to go for those 1, 2, 3, 4, and 13 and 33 specifically, or you were also aiming at the FA year mint as well?
I never thought about the FA or the year mints, just because I didn't, first off, I didn't think about it, and secondly, I'm pretty sure that by the time I joined, those were already gone. And I'm sorry, can you repeat the question? So you were asking?
No, it was just like an observation from my part, and the reason why I'm asking is because in my last interview I had Saxon Sawai. He is an Hawaiian 5-0 actor, and he's in other movies as well, and he's a special mint collector. He has 2 Donnies, and he's an FA year mint collector. So he has the Adventure logo, I think 1963 or something like that. But it was the year that the Adventure team was formed or founded, and like Goofy and some other ones as well. So it's a very special collectible. He has a very special collection, and he has the FA year of Wally, Goofy, the Adventure team, and some other ones too. So that's when I started to understand that, oh, in Veve, beside the collectible side and the comic side, there's also a group that is really into special mint collecting, like you, like Saxon. And it seems to be a very challenging thing because you have to be constantly on the app, try to hunt for these mints. So my next question is, um, tell me the 3 mints that are most memorable to you, and how did you get them?
Three. I'd say the first memorable special mint that I got was the Avengers logo 1234. At that point, I had already had the Iron Man 1234 golden moment, and I was in a Telegram group, and somebody had offered me the matching mint. At that time, that wasn't the thing that I was really thinking about, and they offered it for like maybe 16 or 1800, and I was like, I don't know
Wow.
if I want to spend that much just to match a set. And then 2 weeks go by, and it was really like, it was nagging me. I was getting really upset. I was like, you know what, this might be a thing. And then I was listening to some other people on YouTube talking about, oh, matching mints, and then I heard David Yu and then Silicon Secure, and these people mentioning about how matching mints is going to be a big thing. So then I circled back to that person who offered it, and they said they already sold it. And then they they gave me the username on Veve of who had it, and I checked their account, and that person had Walt 1234 and
Oh,
Mickey Sorcerer hat 1234, and I was like, I'm never gonna see this thing. I'm never gonna get it. And so, reluctantly and embarrassingly, I messaged the person on the feed. And I said, hey, do you mind if we talk? And they messaged me on Telegram, and we finally worked out a deal. It cost me my ultra rare Spidey number 111 to trade that for the Avengers logo plus a few $1,000s. So it was, I don't know in retrospect if it was necessarily worth that, but to me, I really wanted to match the golden moment set, and I'm a big fan of the Avengers and Marvel and Iron Man. So yeah, I gave up my ultra rare Spidey 111 for the Avengers logo 1234 to match my set. Plus, it gave me a couple $1,000s, which really helped catapult me to have the liquidity to be able to buy more special mints. So that was really a turning point. I was like, I didn't know that people could flip like this, or trade up like this, and that was my first most memorable moment. The second one was probably when the market was hot. I had a Todd. It was a palindrome mint 6006.
wow.
I had, and the floor was like around $10,000 or 10,000 gems, and I saw Steamboat Willie ultra rare on the market, and I found the mint 1234, but it was listed for 10,000. And so I was like, do I sell my Todd? Is it going to get, am I going to get priced out? Will I ever be able to afford one again? But I knew that, like, for my collection, at least, the 1234 Steamboat Willie ultra rare would have been like really nice. And so I went for it. I floored the mint, the Todd. It sold like a day or two later, because people weren't buying things at that price. And then I screen recorded my purchase, and that was the most expensive thing I'd ever bought on Veve, a $10,000 Steamboat Willie ultra rare number 1234. Never bought anything that expensive ever again. But that was pretty cool, being able to share like with like friends and family, like, hey, look, I just spent 10,000 on this one NFT, and they looked at me like I was insane. And for a third special mint that I bought, to be honest, I can't really think of one off the top of my head. I did buy a secret rare Spidey.
Oh,
And this one was really, this didn't sit well with my my wife, but we just had a kid like about a year before, and I started this college fund, and I was telling myself, with the way things are and how big the IP is, this could probably pay for their education or something down the road. So I liquidated my kids' education fund. There was nothing in there. It was like less than 2,000.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I'm a teacher, and when I got the check, I put it in the bank, and I bought a Secret Rare Spidey for under $2,000.
Wow.
Exactly $1,999. And then like the next day or two, it just shot up to like 4,000, then 6,000 and 8,000. And I was like patting myself on the back, and I was like showing it like my family, hey, my kid's gonna be all right. They're actually gonna be paid for. So that was that's probably my third best move on Veve.
Follow-up questions. Do you still have that Spider-Man Secret Rare?
I kept it in my vault. I'm not putting it in my profile. I don't want. I'm not happy with the mint, so I'm waiting for the right moment to be able to either mint swap or add on.
You're not happy with the mint of a Secret Rare Spider-Man?
I'm really picky.
That is not something. Oh my god, that is not something. You should be very happy that you got one of the best collectibles on the app at such a really good deal. Oh my god! So this is a funny story. Um, Brown Mamba, the guy, like the moderator, like group leader of the Veve army. One time I asked him, "Hey, I have never seen a Secret Rare Spider-Man. Can you put it in your vault and share it with me?" And he said that, "Oh, Secret Rare Spider-Man kept crashing my vault, so I can't open it. Damn it!" And I was like, "Man, you should not be complaining. You have one of the best collectibles on the app. If this thing is crashing your showroom, this is a rich people problem." um, yeah. So you got a really good deal on the Secret Rare Spider-Man. When did you buy that collectible?
It was September of last year, so September 2021. It was probably like the September 18th or 19th. I'd have to check my history, but I remember I started on September 12th, and I just like bought a crazy amount of gems. But yeah, it was right around then, mid-September.
So when the January bull run happened, did you think about selling that Secret Rare Spider-Man, or what was your thought process back then?
I was pumped. I was like losing my mind seeing like the floor flying up. I didn't know what to do. I was thinking about retiring. I was like my whole collection is gonna be worth X amount and all this stuff. I'd be lying if I said that I wasn't thinking about selling like all my special mints and stuff, because it was tempting. But at the same time, I felt sick thinking about letting those go, because I put a lot of work into them, into finding them, and thinking long term. I know that with the IP, that it's a lot more meaningful to a broader audience than what we were experiencing at the time, and that we were just scratching the surface. So yeah, I was tempted, but anything that I had an affinity for, I kept. Like I sold a few things, but they were like mints that I wasn't crazy about, or collectibles that like I really didn't care for, that had pretty nice mints too.
Yeah. So my next question is, you bought the Secret Rare Spider-Man for under $2,000. That was a crazy deal right there. What was your thought process going to that purchase? Like, what did you think when you decided to put $2,000 to buy this collectible? Because in hindsight, like So I started back in February 2021, so February last year. So I was pretty early, but even back then, like spending $2,000, especially like right now, it seems like something to do. But back in September, before the bull run, $2,000 for a collectible on Veve was kind of a lot. So, what did you? How did you make that decision?
Um, so maybe an interesting story, not so sure. When I finished up college, I had I decided to like gamble for a living, and so my tolerance for money coming in and out was got really high for my age.
Mm.
And so like I didn't really have much respect for money, and so I didn't feel like it was that much because like I'd spent that amount in like a day or like in an hour easily. So I didn't think much of it. I was just thinking this looks cool, and I pulled the trigger. I also bought, like Todd for 750. I bought the secret rare Captain America for 750. I bought the Rizzo for like 1700, stuff like that.
Wow.
Um, so I was more focused on completing sets. I will say that, which in retrospect, I regret having tried to complete the sets that early on, not knowing that I wanted other things. But also, it was early, and there weren't that many options too. So,
So was it more of like a fun gamble for you, or did you really understand? Oh, there's only 1,000, or even less than 1,000 versions available of the the most popular superhero at the moment.
I did pay attention. I did notice that there was only 1,000 of it,
Mm.
and I thought to myself that like if I didn't get it now, then there was that like psychological threshold of over 2,000 or under 2,000 because it was like swinging a little bit at that time. And I decided like as soon as I saw it under 2,000, I was like, this is probably going to be the cheapest that I would see it at. And so
Yeah,
that's when I got it.
right. So now we have gone through a a pretty crazy bull market in January, and now we are experiencing a very long bear market. How have your collecting strategy on VV shifted or adapted over time?
I've been selling the things that I didn't like as much. Um, just being willing to take losses, but keeping in mind the opportunity cost of like things to come, new drops, just being liquid and being ready for collectibles that I'd like more. Also, there's a lot of collectibles that I don't have. Like I don't have a Walt, I don't have an Elsa, like simple things like that, like more expensive things and less expensive things. But I'm just super picky, and I've been playing the waiting game. I've just been making sure that like when I do buy something, I get a mint that I'm very satisfied with, and my strategy has been just buy one of each thing that I like with a good mint, and then I move on, knowing that if the market starts flying again, that at least I have one that I like, and that I'm not priced out for the nicer mints. Um, um, and really, I've tried stacking before, and that's backfired really hard for me too.
Mm,
So my strategy is hold long term, have one nice mint of the things that I do like, because I know I'll be more inclined to hold on to them longer.
I see. So, how much is too much to pay for these specimens? For example, like a more elaborate way of me asking this question is, if something is going for uh 100 gems, how many at floor, how many axes of that 100 gem should people pay for, or are you like you are willing to pay for in order to get that mint without thinking like, oh, I'm overpaying for this, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It depends on how much. Of course, it's subjective, but for
Mhm.
me, like I'm not. I'm not rich. I'm not a whale. Um, for me, like I've spent as much as like, I don't know, 1500 when the floor is like 100, 1700 around there for a mint that I really like for a collectible. But like if I'm on the fence, I might settle on something that's like a lot less expensive. Like I might settle on a repeating mint if I'm priced out, or a descending sequential mint like 3210. Or I'll just wait and move on, you know. But how much is too much? It just depends.
So, for example, if your wife were to get started with Veve today, what would be that threshold that you would be telling her, like, hey, if this is above 20x floor, then forget about it. What is that number times X that you will recommend your wife or your friends or other people who are thinking about getting into specimen collecting?
I'd say probably if the floor is like 10 to 50 gems, I'd say maybe $400 max, 400, maybe 500 if they've already established a nice collection at that point. But if they've just started, maybe $300-400 would be a pretty comfortable range. It's not that much. I don't think anybody could afford that. Um, and then, but like if the floor was like 100 or so, I'd say seven, eight, $900.
Right.
I just think like $1,000 is a very intimidating or daunting amount for people to put up. But if the IP is big, then you know, spend that extra money. I think, especially if you're just starting and you want to feel good and know that you're going to keep something. Special mints are a nice way of going about it.
So less than 10x the floor, or maybe less than 15x the floor, is like a reasonable range to go for that specimen, right?
Yeah, yeah. But that's just me. I think so.
Yeah.
And I think I'm kind of jaded at this point with like seeing the market run and dip and all of that. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on that.
For the past few minutes, I I was thinking, well, when you mentioned that you bought Steamboat's Willie for 10,000 gems, I thought, oh my God, this guy messed up. And then you mentioned how you bought Secret Rare Spider-Man. Well, no, when you were like leading up to you spending that amount of money, like your kids' college fund on Secret Spider-Man, I was like, oh no, this is gonna get worse. And then you mentioned that, oh, it's only less than $2,000. So you bought Secret Rare Spider-Man for less than $2,000. I went from like, oh, this guy messed up to like, this guy is a genius. What a ride! That was funny. So my next question is, and this is a question that I always like to ask my guests, which is, what are your 3 biggest mistakes that you are comfortable sharing?
Sure. The first mistake that I made was trying to complete all the sets that I could, even with the things that I didn't like, just to be able to see that box grow one by one. That wasn't really important. That like, because I'm not wealthy, I'm not able to enjoy collecting as much if I go for things I don't like, because when I see things come up in the market, I always wished I wished that I had more liquidity to buy the things I did like at multiple points, especially the first few months. It took me like 5 or 6 months before I could really enjoy myself and enjoy collecting. So I just focus on the things that I do like and avoid focusing so much on completing the sets. That's the first mistake that I made early on. The second mistake that I made, and this was, I guess, like right as the market was really cooling off and like dipping hard, was stacking. I stacked like 335 band leader Mickey commons.
I do remember that.
That was I was really banking on the fact that it was heavily botted, and there was an AMA where they said that they were going to speculate on whether to burn that supply of the botted accounts if they did suspend those accounts. So I was thinking to myself, well, if I buy up a lot of the supply and they burn a whole bunch of botted accounts, because there was somebody else on Twitter who's really well known for being able to monitor the action and like the trades and everything. They confirmed my hypothesis, where that there was a lot more out of circulation and not being traded or listed on the market as people might be paying attention to. So it turned out that there was only like 33% of the supply available. And so there's 67% of the supply that was not being traded at all. And so I was thinking, all right, I've got over 5% of the supply of band leader Mickey commons. And if people want to complete their set, I've got a good amount. But then when KYC was announced and they unlocked all of those accounts, I got wrecked. I got messed up really bad. I was thinking to myself, you know what, I'm not gonna bank on anything until it's official, you know. So maybe stay away. So my second mistake is probably stay away from non-FA collectibles, and maybe common collectibles. I know that they're liquid, but I think people are going to gravitate to the more rare, the more rare ones. So that was my second mistake on the app, stacking those. I'm still liquidating those today. The third mistake, I'd say probably, sorry, I jotted down my mistakes. Just because going for every drop. Right. When I first started, I was like, I have to get everything. If I get it, I'm lucky, and then I'm going to make so much money, and I'm going to be able to flip it and flip up and get a nicer mint. I wish I never did that. So recently, especially like this past month or two, I've been a lot more disciplined and not going for a lot of drops that I don't care for. So stay away from the drops that you don't like. That's my third.
Yeah, so this is my observation. I do agree with your three mistakes. I think that is, those insights are incredibly helpful for everybody, because those are like the common mistakes that if people can learn from you and other folks and avoid those mistakes, they will be much better off financially, emotionally. So that is great that you mentioned that. And this is my observation. So I've interviewed a few whales on the app, and these are guys with several thousand collectibles. I'm talking like the Todd father, Steven, and Danny Boy Lyak. He's like 7,000 collectibles now.
Yes.
Which is crazy because I interviewed him maybe in June or something like that, when he was at like maybe 4,000, and then he pretty much doubled like 6 weeks later, which is kind of insane. Danny Boy Lyak, Dylan's collection, Grubba, OG. So those four guys, what I have noticed is that I feel like, and some of them like explicitly mentioned this, but I also feel like the general pattern is that they also went for completing sets initially, and as time went by, they started noticing the shift in the market, in the preference, and how the app was functioning. So they gravitate towards less on collecting set, but more on stacking, because they realize that there is a better upside from stacking FAs, for example, like you mentioned, rather than just collecting sets and collecting things that, you know, like Veve sell, but not really benefiting them, which makes total sense. And that's what I'm trying to do as well. I'm definitely not a whale. I have like 50 or maybe like 40 to 50 collectibles, but I'm not going for every single drop anymore. if I were to have money, I'm only focusing on the FAs, on the ones that have historical value and popularity. Um, so yeah, that is just an observation there. So and I hope that everybody's watching. Maybe before you decide to hit buy now on the next drop, think about the upside of that collectible. Think about the demand, the scarcity, and those kind of things, because maybe it's not worth it to have all the set. And so my next question for you is: you made a mistake on that non-FA Mickey. All right, you got wrecked on that, and we've all made mistakes. How did you deal with that mistake?
Um, I was just looking at I was just looking forward like to seeing, all right, now I have some liquid I'm going to be liquidating these anyways. I was trying to treat them as my ATM machine, and at the end of the day, they did become my ATM machine because it was very easy to sell them. Unfortunately at a loss, but in that same vein, the whole market was dipping as well. So it was pretty much a lateral move, I guess you could say. So I was able to move on by just selling them and then moving them into nice mints. And I was very, very pleased with what I was able to do with that liquidity. Because I've been thinking, I'm selling those at a loss, but I'm still buying special mints, or, not everybody's going to consider 1, 2, 3, 4 a special mint. I understand that it's an arbitrary number. Same thing with repeating mints and palindromes and all of that stuff. But and this is something that I think that everybody should consider at least at some point. If they're collecting, maybe just focus on one mint that's specific to them. Like I've seen people collect birth year mints, like their birth year mint, and nothing is really impressive when, and sorry to go on a tangent here, but I don't think, I do think that it's, say if you bought a sports car, right? If you have one in your driveway, it's all right. It's cool, right? But if you have like 4, 5, 6 different sports cars in your driveway, all of a sudden it starts to get like really, really, really impressive, because it's, you're just adding and adding and adding. And I think the same could be said of any particular special mint collection. So that's really what I was able to focus on. I was like, all right, I'm counting my loss and I'm moving on and just continuing to do what I enjoy to do, and that's collect on Veve.
Yeah, I think your perspective is very valuable, especially on dealing with a mistake like that, because everybody mess up at some point, right? And dealing with those mistakes can be the hardest thing about like collecting on Veve. Like you buy something for $10,000, or like you buy 350 editions of something, like you have a huge bag, 5%, and then it goes to like the price goes to like 10% of what you have already like originally bought. This is just an example. And then you feel terrible, like emotionally terrible, even though you're just buying and selling these JPEGs or like 3D files, essentially. So I think having your perspective of thinking like, hey, it's a loss, I'm just going to move on and continue collecting, is great for everybody, because sometimes people make mistake. I have made many mistakes as well. That's why I created this channel and invite you guys on, so that you can share yours as well. Everybody learn from each other. Like sometimes people make mistake and it like devastate them, and they just stop collecting and investing in Veve or other things in general. So I really appreciate your perspective. So you have a really unique collection. What are some offers that you have received for some of your collectibles, if you don't mind sharing, and whether you have accepted or rejected those offers?
Oh, I like not anything really special in recent memory. I did have someone offer like like 1 to 1.5 BTC, and then they upped it to like 5 BTC. But you never know like how serious people are, just because of like how you would go about with the transaction or the transfers of the collectibles or the accounts. They wanted my whole account, by the way, for like up to 5 BTC or something. But again, I don't know how serious that offer was, or if I was going to be scammed. I did receive multiple offers for Secret Rare Spidey at like close to its peak. People wanted to buy for crypto. I turned it down, just thinking long term. And that the highest offer I got was probably 30 to 35,000 USDT, because like I think gems were going for 50% or 0.5 at the time. Nothing really big. I mean, people mention like, or people trying to upcharge me and charge me premiums for the collectibles that they know I like. But I never really get offers for my collectibles that I think are serious enough for me to want to break up my collection. The day that I do sell it, or the day that my collectibles do get sold, I think I'll be dead. My and I really mean that, because I think these collectibles are something that you could share with your offspring, your progeny, right? If you do have them, or whoever you care about, or each thing that you collect has a story behind it, right?
Yeah.
Just like my Avengers logo, Secret Rare Spidey, or Steamboat Willie. And sometimes it's pretty exciting to be able to share those stories, and who knows what those price points will be down the line. But I started with like next to nothing when I joined Veve, and I don't plan on liquidating those nice collectibles.
My next question is sort of like an option question. An option question. We can either talk about gem management or taking profit. Which one would you feel more comfortable or knowledgeable or more experienced talking about?
Gem management or taking profit?
Yes.
I'd probably be more inclined to talk about gem management, because I barely sell for anything significant.
Yeah. So I guess my question is, you cannot just keep putting money into Veve, right? Like there has to be some like selling and buying for you to keep going. So again, you said that you are inclined to talk about gem management.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about it. How do you manage your gem, and how do you recommend people to manage their gems so that they can continue with Veve in the long run?
So I did say that I like to collect one of everything and then move on, but sometimes you might see something close to floor that's a really nice mint, and I've done that with maybe 5 to 10 collectibles, things that I know move really well, that you can liquidate, you could sell pretty quickly when you need, and it'll sell within a few hours. So that's how I've been able to stay liquid. Of course, I have been buying gems. So I stopped. I bought a whole bunch of gems in September. Didn't buy any again until probably post KYC. That I was very dependent on selling those collectibles that were very liquid, FAs, of course, more popular characters. I'm not a fan of the comics in real life, so I kind of stayed away from the comics on the app. Just personal preference. I doubled down. So I really did double down on the things I do like, and I prefer the collectibles. That's been my take. And I have been buying gems. So it's been a mix of the two.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about the OMI tokens?
I was super bullish on it when I first started Veve, I was buying it on Bitforex. I think that was the exchange.
Yeah. Mhm.
And then when it ran up, I sold at like 0.008 or whatever it was.
Wow.
I like close to the top, I think.
Yeah.
I bought in like around when it was like 0.004 or something like that. And I sold it all close to the top, fortunately. And I went haywire with buying the gems and buying more collectibles. So, I wasn't as informed, and I'm still not as informed of the OMI token and its utility, or it's the promise of the utility for the token. So until I hear something, I'm not gonna go too crazy
Mhm.
with trying to buy OMI. I'm super short on time. The day is super busy for me too.
Yeah.
So I think collectibles are just really a really simple way of managing managing a portfolio, if you will.
Right. That makes sense. So my two last questions are, if you were to get started again today, or let's just say your best friend were to get started with Veve and he has 1,000 gems, what would you recommend your best friend to do?
Um, I like both Marvel and Disney. Um, that's what I've focused on. So I would recommend, if they're more a fan of one over the other, I would just focus on that and get some things that are within their price range. So, like for example, if they like Disney the most, I think the Disneyland poster set, the 5 secret rare posters, is a great foundation. It's to get all 5. It's probably like $500 right now, and it's super scarce. And it's really cool. Like, again, I think collectibles should have a story to be able to tell, and each of those posters have a story to tell. So I think that should be one thing. And then also, the with the other half of the money, I would probably, and I know a lot of people are bitter about it, but I think that the lenticulars, like the
Mm.
Donald Duck, Daisy Duck, Goofy, Pluto, Mickey and Minnie, um, I'm just really, really, really thinking hard. Like, why in the world would they release those as the first? Like, with the exception of Mickey Mouse, why would they have those as the first on the blockchain if they didn't have something in store? Like, they might keep us in the dark for a really long time, but eventually something's got to pop up. So I'm just speculating here, but I think those are cool too. And there's music, and you know they changed images. I think it's a very novel idea. I think it's pretty cool. I like those.
Right.
Just to start. But if they're a Marvel fan, I would say I would probably go for the first golden moments of Marvel set, the Avengers logo, the Iron Man, a common Spidey, FA
Right.
Spidey. I like the Silver Surfer. I know not many people are, but I watched the cartoon growing up, and the 2 Infinity Stones. Like,
Mm.
I think that the Tesseract and the secret rare Eye of Agamotto, I think there's just, why would they release those if they didn't have something in store? So, like, I'm
Yeah. Yeah.
speculating,
Yeah.
but if you're gonna get it, if you're gonna start, why not start off with getting some Infinity Stones if you're a Marvel fan? So those are like my two routes that I would go, uh, that I would recommend for a new person.
Right. So you are a specimen collector. You have to have an extremely strong will and patience for Vivi. Um, where do you think Vivi will be in 2023, which is next year, and maybe 3 years from now,
Um,
or
Again, this
maybe
is like,
5, 10 years? Just anything long term.
sure. I think the well-being of the ecosystem is going to be really dependent on the line of communicate the modes of communication that they're going to provide for its users. If they don't allow, if they really try and overextend themselves, excuse me, if they depend too much on other social platforms to do the work for them, to allow people to communicate with each other, I think they're really losing out on an opportunity to allow some organic growth. The whole purpose of language is to communicate, and when we collect, we want to communicate. Like, of course, it's for us, but we want to share it with other people. Of course, there's Instagram and Twitter and all of those platforms, but I'm just shocked that they haven't done more for the modes of communication on the platform, because the feed is awful. The feed is
Right.
absolutely awful. And it's tough to communicate with people. And if people don't offer a line of communication on there, then it's like, if you want a specific collectible, a specific mint, and they don't respond, or if there's no way for them to respond because they don't look at the feed, then what other measures are we left to rely on? So I think they're really missing out on an opportunity for allowing people to enjoy and share more often by providing that line of communication. So my answer, long-winded answer, in 2023, I think if they improve their mode of communication on the app, I think it will grow much quicker than other people would give Veve credit for. But otherwise, I think we'll be kind of sitting dead in the water until we're able to take the collectibles off app, store them, and stuff like that.
Why is interoperability so important for you?
Just being able to know that you can take it to other ecosystems, and take advantage of the other companies that have done a lot of the legwork. I'm not an expert on it. I'm not trying to pretend to be, but I just think that there's way too many cool things to explore outside of Veve, and for us to be for Veve to be short-sighted and not let us do that sooner. I'm not saying that they're the ones responsible. I understand that Immutable X is doing a lot of the work too. It just leaves us wanting for more. And we're spoiled, I think, especially if you've experienced the bull run. When you see that you've made like a whole bunch of gains, you want more. When you see when you go on social media and you see people doing really well, you want that too, right? And I just think that like the more that they collaborate with other companies, the better it'll be, the more enjoyable it'll be, and the more inclined people will want to be to use Veve for their services.
Right. Yeah. So to end this conversation, is there anything you want to say, or is there any advice that you think will be beneficial to everybody?
I know that people are starting to feel like ill will towards Veve. They're getting frustrated because the prices are dipping and everything. But in my opinion is, if you're gonna collect, just make sure that you're collecting the things that you like, because that way you'll be less inclined to sell. And people say that this is a collector's app. I fully believe it. Of course, there's like an opportunity to make money on the app, but that I'm not one of those people. I'm in it to enjoy the collecting process, the socializing off app, and sharing and being able to like share this with other people. So, try not to get frustrated, collect what you like, get a nice mint for yourself, or figure out what mint you do like, because you'll soon realize that once you have multiple collectibles of the same mint, it gets to be really impressive. And again, my mint 1, 2, 3, 4, nothing special about it. It's just the fact that I have a lot of it, I think.
Yeah. Wow. Mr. V, thank you so much. I really appreciate your thoughts and, like you sharing your mistakes, very expensive mistakes, very successful purchases as well. And just like all the things that you have realized over the past 12 months, because you started in September last year. Yeah, I I just cannot think of a better way, like for me, to get started making VV videos again after like 2 months off. And this is yeah, it's been so incredible. I really appreciate you being on here, and I hope that maybe a year from now we see where VV goes, and then we have a second conversation to catch up and see how your strategy have shifted over time.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love that. And thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it. It's been an honor being able to have to make my first appearance on here.
All right, thank you so much, and I hope you and your family a great weekend.
Thank you very much.
All right, bye. That is it, you guys. I hope that you have enjoyed this interview. If you do, please give this video a like. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Your support means a lot to me and the interview guests, because what we are trying to do here with this channel is to bring you the expertise, the knowledge, the experience, the painful and expensive mistakes, so that you can avoid them, so that you can learn a little bit and hopefully make better decisions in your VV journey. My belief is that if you go through your VV experience by yourself and you make mistakes, then you learn from one person, one very biased perspective. But if you watch these videos, to spend 1 hour learning from these guys who are day in, day out, they have put hundreds of thousands of dollars into the app, they have made so many mistakes, they have made so many great decisions as well, then you are learning from 2, 3, 4, 5, and so you are double, triple, quadruple the amount of knowledge and insight you can learn, and therefore you'll be able to exponentially better your decisions as well. So that's the goal of my channel here. And so make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, so that again you don't miss out on the actionable and valuable insights brought to you by VV's experts and biggest whales, so that will help you to make better decisions. I have so many interviews, exciting interviews coming up that I bet you will love as well. And so thank you so much for being here, guys. I hope to see you again next time.